Ashby, how are you?
Good to see you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to Jakarta.
It is so fun to be here. I think I was here 12 years ago,
Wow.
and I would like to say it hasn't changed much, but it feels like it's changed a lot.
It's the biggest city in the world. Ashby and I shared, he's still there as a professor at Stanford. Well, I graduated many years ago. I don't want to tell how many years, but we're doing the social media thing because he is one of the preeminent expert in long-term investing and institutional investing, especially on sovereign wealth. Something that not many people
That's true.
know about, right? Not many people actually learn. So,
I think somebody on your team was saying that you're really pushing to educate the world in Indonesia and Jakarta on what sovereign wealth funds are.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, most people in the United States don't know what sovereign wealth funds are. This is a topic that we don't teach in universities. Many of these funds are being set up by countries around the world. There is no master's degree in sovereign wealth funds that you can take at Stanford. So it's very common to have to educate.
And I'm kind of learning by doing right now because nobody can teach me how to do this. So I'm so glad that you're here, at least sharing all this experience. But tell me, first of all,
yes,
Ashby is actually athlete. First of all, it's a rolling athlete, right?
I was.
And,
I am.
And still am. And he's very tall. You don't see this in the cover. Very tall, very strong. But what is it that from that lessons learned, maybe you can share a bit, how does it translate to what you're doing today?
Pandu, I'm not that smart. I know how to suffer in service of a mission. And so when you're a rower or you're a cyclist or you're a swimmer, you learn how to do really hard things with the hope that one day down the road you get to win something. The journey is half the fun. It's your teammates, it's the culture that you build. And so that's something I'm still looking for at age 49. But I think sports are very important because it teaches you to really get the inputs right, the training, the regiment, the food, and then hope for the best with the outputs, the results, the racing. So that's what I learned, my friend.
And so then you've been learning about sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah.
What separates the great and just the merely good one? And what excites you about us in Danantara?
Okay, so the great sovereign funds understand their competitive advantages. They don't try to do everything everywhere all at once. They understand, hey, we have an edge in illiquid assets, we have an edge in private equity, so on and so forth. So that self-knowledge is very important because, in my experience, no two sovereign funds are the same.
That's right.
Even in this part of the world, you have very famous sovereign funds in Malaysia, Khazanah, in Singapore with GIC and Temasek, here in Danantara, INA. They're all different. They have different nuance, different mandates, different cultures, different technologies, different portfolios, different history. And so you have to understand all that history and context to begin to build the strategy for the future. And so to your final question, why the heck am I here? I think the project you're working on is like maybe the coolest project in the world.
Thank you.
I study sovereign funds.
Yeah.
The ambition here is to build an investment industry in Indonesia, to set a role model for good governance in Indonesia, to help develop an economy for the benefit of Indonesians. But in the process of doing all that, I have to tell you, you're going to help everybody understand what it means to build a high impact, high performance sovereign development fund.
So then, in your view, how can we, because we're so new, we're 13
know.
months old,
It's a
we're
startup.
still a baby, what do you call it? We're the plane analogy, we're trying to fly a plane while building a plane. So how can we differentiate or put ourselves stand among some of the giants that you mentioned?
So you asked me to come. I don't want to say that I am the oracle, but it's a very common thing to want to understand what your peers are doing.
Yes.
And so if you look at me, I am an access point to what other sovereign funds are doing. So I'm here to tell you those things. And as an industry, I have to tell you, we rely on role models. So if anybody who's worked at a sovereign fund has been asked, hey, we want to do something new, the first thing you do is get on an airplane and go figure out what have they done in the Canada pension plan? What have they done in Abu Dhabi Investment Authority or Mubadala? What are the other funds doing? And then you bring that information back and you try to apply it to your context. And so I'm here trying to share some of that international best practice, but the selfish thing is I'm really interested in your context.
Yes.
I really think there's an opportunity here to do something special. And what we need to figure out, you're only a year old. But we can start to think about what a Danantara model would be. What 10 years from now could we be proud of that this sovereign fund built, where the Canadian pension plans are getting on airplanes to Jakarta
to learn.
Yeah. And I have some ideas, but I'm going to save them. I don't want to put them on the social media.
Not on the social media. So then, what if you've met with a bunch of the Danantarans, like I think a lot actually, some of our professionals, both the young ones, the senior ones. What do you think of them? How do you think they compare? And what's the opportunity for the human capital side of things in this part of the world?
So first thing to remember, everywhere in the world, we train investors through investment banking. Investment banking is not investing. It is a toolkit that is relevant in investing.
That's right.
But so I want you to hear that, because I do think the job of an investor is different than what you see at most investment banks, which means you're not that far behind other places because they don't have it.
Yes.
So I think your talent is incredible. So Pandu, you're an incredible recruiter. There's a lot of people who have come to this place to be part of a startup and deliver on the mission. The bigger question we need to think about is, how do we make that a sustainable opportunity for young people?
That's right.
But I have to say, like, the lack of an investment industry doesn't scare me. I actually think it gives us a blank sheet of paper to build something really special.
Something really cool.
Yeah.
So then, last question I have.
Okay.
So, capital hates uncertainty.
I've heard that.
Right? But
somebody said that.
Yeah, and now we live in a very profound time globally in terms of a realignment, geopolitical constellation happening. How should sovereign wealth funds, especially that affect society, how should we react to this? What would you tell a sovereign wealth fund manager in this new world order?
The uncertainty typically is coming from geopolitical conflict right now.
Yes.
Obviously, we've got tariffs in the U.S., we've got different issues around the world, but it's conflict. And governments can play a role in helping provide more certainty about their investment ecosystem, the rule of law, and that's at the level of the government. A sovereign fund, whether it's Danantara or NIIF, can be a partner to other funds. And together, you can co-invest with your peers, in effect giving certainty that certain rules of law will be abided because you're partnering with a certain type of investor.
Yeah.
We're seeing that a lot right now.
We're also doing it.
Well, I think I saw you might have signed an MOU.
Yeah, we already said. We actually did deals already with the Qataris.
There you go.
We had a 4 billion JV with CIC already, $1 billion, and more sovereign wealth funds.
Right, so
we're doing.
The purpose of that is to manage that uncertainty. You're partnering with a fellow government. Ideally, those investors have a similar risk-return mandate, have a similar culture, and you're partnering on assets that you can kind of be mutually beneficial on.
Yes.
The other thing is to say, just continuing to focus on your own house. The better governed, the better the policies and principles, the more you understand about your portfolio, all the technology that you're about to go build, these are going to be critical parts to just understanding the risks and uncertainties, and then you can see how you can manage it.
So, I want to thank you. Actually, we're in the middle of Jakarta traffic.
Yes, I see.
When you see there's 40 million people in the city.
Is that how big it is?
Yeah, it's the
40
largest
million
city in the world. Largest city in the world today. So you see, it's a sign of economic growth, but at the same time, you see lots of traffic, just like our lives. So I want to thank you, by the way, for spending the last couple of days here and learning about us. And, hopefully this is the start of something really cool together. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excited to be here.